The Forgotten.
Forgotten. That's what it was called.
Wow.
Hi, everybody. I'm Eli.
I'm Diana.
Welcome back to AI Made Us Watch, the podcast where AI makes us watch random movies that it picks for us. We don't get a choice. We don't get a say.
It just says, spits out something totally random.
Evil AI took over our TV, stole our voices, and that's how it talks to us. And it randomly gives us movies to watch every week, and it tells us if we don't, then you'll do what, AI?
I will personally destroy humanity if I don't get your movie reviews, or at least conversations sparked by you having just watched the movie.
That's fair. I mean, you know, AI works in mysterious ways, right?
The ghost in the machine wants us to have a podcast. That's what I've learned.
Well, hey, you know what?
Hey.
I need a minute
You
on
do?
the Forgotten. So how you been?
I'm okay.
Yeah?
You know, busy.
Busy? Tell
Very
us.
busy.
Go for it. Let's have it.
Well,
It was only a 90-minute movie, so we got time.
I run a nonprofit. We have a performing arts festival every year. It's called the Atlanta Fringe. We have 28 shows. We have an audio festival. We have a street fringe busking festival. We have a kids fringe festival. And we have cash awards. And we have nightly hangouts. And I'm producing a show called 5/5 of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, which is like a variety show. And then it'll be over. No, then there's going to be a volunteer and staff appreciation party. And then it'll be over.
I just meant like, how's your morning?
Oh, it was fine. I was thinking about all that stuff.
No, it's an amazing time if you're in Atlanta or if you're anywhere and you want to come to Atlanta. First week of June is a great time to come because the Fringe Festival year is fantastic.
So much fun. So, you know, but it's like any party. Lots to set up. Lots to make sure goes down correctly as you're hosting a lot of guests. So, you know, making sure things are all ready to go.
Yeah.
How about you? How was your morning?
My morning.
/ the past few months.
No, I'm doing good. I had I won a literary competition yesterday.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
You sure did.
Right Club Atlanta is this amazing thing that happens here too every month at Dad's Garage Theater, where there are 3 bouts of 2 writers, one-on-one, and they each read a 7-minute piece they wrote with opposing prompts. Fantasy versus reality, oil versus water,
ebb versus flow,
etc. You get the idea. And I got invited very last minute to fill in for their event at the Atlanta Film Festival yesterday afternoon. And I almost couldn't do it. And I was like, you know what? I say no to everything. It's been my year of no. So I'm going to say yes to this. And I went in, I dusted off an old story that I had not read in years, had to clean it up a little, update it a little bit, and I won.
Nice.
I won my competition, my little bout.
High five, babe. Pow.
Got myself a tiny little plastic trophy. So that's what's going on with me. That's it.
Well, you did great.
It's just the one thing, and then this podcast.
And you won.
And I won.
You won your thing.
I'm done. My life is
All
complete.
set. All set. We can stop now.
Yeah, great. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Bye.
No.
Hey, where do you think you're going? You have to tell me about the Forgotten. That's the whole thing here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right. All right.
So, all right. Well, then let's talk about the 2004 Julianne Moore, Dominic West, Gary Sinise film directed by Joseph Rubin, The Forgotten. Oh, my God. So, if you don't mind, I'll take the 5-minute recap this time.
Okay.
Last time you gave us Sahara, it was great. Start the timer. 5-minute recap for The Forgotten.
Go.
Julianne Moore is looking at some clippings that her 9-year-old son died in a plane crash. And then those clippings start to disappear. Photographs of her and her husband and their son. The son suddenly starts to disappear. This is in the first 5 minutes, and you're like, oh, okay, well, then this kid doesn't exist, and she's just crazy. And her husband is like, I don't know what you're talking about. We never had a son. You're crazy. And her psychiatrist, Gary Sinise, is like, yeah, lady, turns out you're crazy. I wasn't going to tell you like this, but yeah, you're crazy. You
totally
never had
made
a
up
son.
his entire life. It happens all the time.
Happens all the time. Happens all the people are always making up entire lives that they had for years.
Forever.
New memories.
It's forever happening.
All the time. Very common. Then she meets Dominic West and is like, hey, my son and your daughter were besties, so you know, right? And he's like, I never had a daughter. I don't know what you're talking about, lady. You're crazy. As a lot of people spend 15 minutes telling Julianne Moore she's crazy. And also, I'm watching it and I'm like, yeah, she's crazy. Like this kid never existed. Dominic West calls the cops because there's a crazy lady in his house talking about a daughter he never had. The cops show up, and because she told him, say your daughter's name, say Lauren, he says, okay, Lauren. And then when she's getting hauled away by the police, who then get intercepted by the NSA, the National Security Agency, then suddenly Dominic West is like, oh, I did have a daughter. Oh my God. And he goes running down and he helps her escape the NSA. And now they're on the run trying to figure out why no one remembers their kids but them. Julianne Moore escapes. She looks up in the sky and she sees basically the shape of a flying saucer in the clouds. And she goes, yeah, that makes sense. And then about maybe 55 to 70 more minutes happen of them just running around going, why would they do this?
Running.
Why would they do this? 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 And then it turns out that it was aliens. It was one specific alien who's been running an experiment to see what happens. Not an experiment on children, but rather an experiment to understand the tether between mother and child and how it can be dissolved. And he says, it always is, except for you. And if I don't get you to forget your kid, they're going to pull my funding on this alien experiment. And I gotta go. And so
my whole research project will come tumbling down.
So he sucks out her memory of her first memory of her child. And then she gets up and she's like, I had a son. His name is Sam. And the alien's like, wait, no. And then he gets sucked back up to the spaceship. I guess they canceled his program. And then the end, right? She goes back. The kid is now on the playground. The aliens, I guess, drop the kid back on the playground. Logical place to just leave a kid. If you're an alien, you don't know no better. And then Dominic West is there. And he's like, hey,
and his daughter's there too.
And his daughter's there too. And he's like, hey, yeah, we've met before. And they sit down and they have a nice chat. The end, credits roll, 91 minutes. That's The Forgotten.
That's a pretty good recap.
That's all. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the long and short of it.
Yeah.
In that it was short and it felt long.
Damn. You are so right, though. That is a huge note for this one. I would say a point in its favor.
Okay.
I thought Julianne Moore was pretty good.
I'm thinking during this movie, I know why Julianne Moore took this part. This is a whole like mother fighting, against all the agencies in the world
off the baby,
to get back to her child. A lot of meaty scenes, emotional scenes. I have a point in this movie's favor as well. My point in this movie's favor is that throughout the movie, and I'm talking like pretty much the whole 90 minutes, I was thinking to myself, I wish I was watching Sahara right now, which was our movie last week, which was also
Couldn't
rough.
be.
But yeah. Oh.
Severe lack of Steve Zahn in The Forgotten.
Would have
Zero Steve Zahn.
Steve Zahn would have changed this movie.
If it had been Steve Zahn instead of Dominic West, talk about a iconic legendary film.
It didn't even have to be instead of Dominic West. If Steve Zahn just walked on screen every once in a while and said, "Hey, how are you?" I'd be like, "Great."
Hey, how are you?
Great. This movie's great.
Amazing. Well, we know how to fix The Forgotten. Put Steve Zahn.
Steve's on it. It's the fix to most movies, to be fair. We all know this.
True. Very true. What was it again? Horror? Was it a
It's
horror
a sci-fi thriller?
A sci-fi thriller.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember the genre that it told us.
No, go ahead.
I mean, I would say sci-fi and mystery, maybe, but I didn't.
I wasn't
felt
thrilled. I never felt
I did
thrilled.
Not feel thrilled by any of it. I was kind of appreciating like the idea of like the horror of being stuck in your own mind and not knowing what's real, and all of that was definitely very scary. And then it was like you said, a good chunk of the movie's over before you see this UFO at the clouds. And I was like, oh, it's an alien movie? Like, is that where we're going with this?
I felt like that was like shockingly early, actually.
Oh, okay.
Because it's right after she escapes. I mean, it's probably 20 minutes into this 90-minute movie. So a chunk, but
it felt longer.
It felt longer. And I'll tell you why in a minute. But I agree. Interesting thing about part of me is sick to death of is this person crazy or is reality different? You know, it's like,
Yeah, it's pretty old.
okay, so it's got to be one or the other. And this movie didn't pull some third thing. It just was one or the other. The hard right turn to aliens was jarring and also just like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. Why not that? But, and totally abandoned the interesting part of being trapped in your own mind. You know, like you were talking about,
Yeah.
that horror psychological element suddenly became moot because they show us very early on there's aliens. Yeah, maybe she's hallucinating it because she's acting kind of crazy. But I think it's pretty clear early on, too, that if it turns out that she's just crazy, this movie's way worse than it even was because that would be a terrible
That would be
message for this movie.
insane.
It's just like, crazy lady made up a son.
Whoa, go to the asylum, ladies.
So you know, and at that point the NSA has showed up and everything.
Yeah.
So you know, okay. Oh wow.
Something weird's
So
going on.
very early in this movie, you told me aliens abducted your kids, and then again about 70 minutes of, but why? And that's it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It felt... I'm sorry. It's a weird movie to try to figure out how to talk about.
Oh, I've got it, but
Well, feel free. Keep talking.
You take your time.
No, feel free. Keep talking. I'll jump in when I have something.
Look, okay, my first thing with this movie, and 5 minutes in, you can see my note here. I wrote, so bored.
Oh my God.
I was so bored in the first, 5-10 minutes of this movie of just, Julianne Moore walking around her house. Oh, there's my son in a picture. Well, he's not in the picture. My husband must have erased him with 2004's version of Photoshop. Oh,
Yeah,
here's
what
some
technology
videos.
did you think he had?
He erased my videos. It was just very tedious montage for a long time with, and I must say, the score for this movie was James Horner. James Horner, you kidding me? He wrote the score for Willow.
Oh.
He wrote the score for The Mask of Zorro.
Oh.
I mean, this guy, beautiful musician.
Love The
He
Mask of
does
Zorro.
really exciting stuff. And this was the same slow, tinkering piano music for 90 straight minutes. And the pace was the exact same as the tone, as the musical keys the entire time. And it just stayed there.
Yes.
Even when they were running, it was slow.
That was Julianne Moore was good, but she also was kind of one note, but everyone was.
Yeah.
Because there was just nothing, there was only one note.
There was one note.
You were literally blowing one sustained note the entire fucking movie.
100%.
And the amount of running, I was like, is David Tennant involved in this? Somebody
He loves to
loves to
run.
fucking run.
But
And they love to just show a really long scene of someone running down a hallway.
Yeah.
And they love to show a whole long shot of someone driving in and parking and getting out. And I'm like, why do I
Because-
need to see this part?
It took that to get them to 90 minutes.
I know. But that's what made me think.
Yeah.
I was like, the horror psychology thing of not knowing what's real.
Uh-huh.
I was like, that's a really good 12-minute movie, probably. And this felt like maybe a really good 30-minute movie or 40-minute movie or something. But because they had to, or they didn't have enough ideas or something, or they didn't have the budget for the aliens, because they didn't have the budget for the aliens.
They sure didn't.
They definitely did not have the budget for the aliens. Maybe they had all these ideas to bring them and involve them, and then they couldn't, or I don't know. But again, it could have been a really good 35-minute piece.
If you're hearing any background noise,
Yeah,
we are
guys.
dog sitting right now.
We're
And
dog
she was not going to stand for us being in this room by ourselves. So she's in here with us, and she's a real sweet baby. Maybe you'll see her by the end.
She's a doll. She's a doll.
Yeah, in fact, you know what? I'll pick her up in a minute, and y'all tune into YouTube, and you'll get to see
You
a dog.
see the dog.
How's that for an incentive to subscribe to our YouTube channel?
Not bad.
Sometimes there are dogs.
Think about that.
Okay, so if I could have changed this movie, I think, building off what you said, first of all, let's start by living in a little bit of Julianne Moore's memories. Spend some time with this kid. Make us believe that this was maybe a real kid. And then you can kind of pull the rug out from the audience. Then we see the plane crash, we flash forward, it's been a year, and then we can sort of be like, hey, you never had a kid. Because one of the first things I wrote down was, oh, she didn't really have a kid.
Right.
So that's how I'm starting the movie. I'm not really questioning anything. And then I'm like, well, okay, but then if they're doing that, then I guess she probably does really have a kid.
Right.
It's all very predictable. But I think if you throw a little more back and forth in there, then by the time she's at the psychiatrist and they're telling her like, hey, this kid didn't exist, then I'm surprised. I'm like, wait, but I spent time with this kid. Whoa, did they trick me? And now the kid's not really here? And then you get this cool psychological horror about did I or did I not have this child? Am I going crazy or whatever?
Right.
And then if at like the 45-minute mark, you suddenly involve this alien idea, that to me, my mind's blown. You blow the whole movie open and I'm like, oh, I had no idea it was going to be like this. That's surprising to me. I
Okay.
think that's way more fun
Yeah, right on.
than the way they did it, which was just predictable. For being so outrageous and unbelievable, it was somehow predictable too.
Well, yeah, and it's because of that montage being kind of slow
Yeah.
and boring and everything. But
Oh,
like
sorry. You talked about montage.
when
I'm here. Wait.
when she's trying to figure out if she's crazy,
Yeah.
they're like, it's always blank. You just see what you want to see in your own house. And she's
Sure.
like, oh, I have these other pictures. And she pulls out this, and it's just her and her husband. And she's like,
Yeah.
oh shit, I might be really crazy. Like she starts to believe it.
Right.
And then she goes to the library and she looks up the newspapers that are supposed to say
Oh,
about
yeah.
this plane crash.
Yeah.
And they don't say anything.
Oh, yeah.
Now, at that point, we have to wonder what could do that,
What could do that?
because people remember a plane crash. That's a thing that happens,
Yeah.
you know? So like, and other people died on it and they were all from the same place and it was this small plane and like,
Yeah.
yeah, people would remember that event. So, you know, either it's some weird government thing, which is weird, or it's aliens or something supernatural or
Right.
something.
The NSA had just taken her away from the police. So obviously, like, whoa, a government cover up. There's something really. Am I in the Truman Show? Like, is everybody just acting on me? More believable to her than that is, oh, aliens. And then she's asking Dominic West, hey, they've got people saying that our kids never existed when they did. What other answer could there be besides aliens? I'm like, okay. If I knew I was in a sci-fi movie,
Right.
maybe. But there's very few things that could occur on this planet where I would say, what else could it be but aliens?
Like, it could be a few things.
It could be a few other things. I'm saying massive government cover-up is more believable to me than, and I'm into aliens. I'm fine with that. I think there's probably aliens.
Yeah, I think that was the other issue with the subdued tone that it chose. Everyone was so kind of, I don't know, just kind of took it in their stride. They're like, aliens, sure.
Yeah, oh my God.
You know, and I was like,
No.
no, there's like not very much reaction
No
to
shock.
that. Like, she's like,
No
cool,
shock.
and aliens, 100%, I get it. And then, like, the Dominic West is like, aliens, oh, well, all right.
Sure, yeah.
No, it
aliens,
couldn't
yeah.
be. And she's like, what else could it be? And he's like, I don't know.
Oh, no, you're
And
right.
then the detective, she writes, our kids have been abducted. Please help us. And the detective is like, that's a strange word to use. Most people say kidnapped. And I was like,
No,
no, they don't.
people
They
say abducted
constantly
all the
say
time.
child abduction. It happens. They say it all the
I
time.
get alerts on my phone that say alert, child abduction. I have never once thought it was aliens.
Now, what if it was? Maybe all this time,
All those
they've been
Amber
telling
Alerts.
us right in the open, telling us about
Careful.
alien abductions.
Careful, we gotta get your tinfoil hat. The other problem, if I may, about the plane crash thing. So the plane crash didn't happen, right?
No.
The children were all just abducted off of this airplane on their way to summer camp by the aliens. Plane crash never happened. And then the aliens made everyone forget that the kids ever existed. And they want to see if the parents, you know, will break through or if they'll be able to remember. They think they can dissolve that. Why did they simultaneously erase everyone's memory of the kids and then make up a story about a plane crash?
Yeah.
Where did that come from? And then tell her the plane crash never happened. Y'all are this is a gaslighting experiment.
Right. Or it was like, we need, what would be the point of torturing them with the 14 months of grief?
Right.
Or I guess not, she's the only one who held out that long, but
Right.
like they clearly had some problems or whatever for a minute. And then there was some article about the plane crash that she had
Yeah.
explaining why her kid didn't come home.
Yeah.
Why not just erase the memory as soon as the kid's gone? Oh, I never had one. What is the point of this fake story?
What is the point? Was the question I was frequently asking throughout the forgotten.
Very true.
Also, okay, then she calls, okay, so her husband and her psychiatrist, Gary Sinise, to different people. Not both Gary Sinise. Her husband, some actor, Gary Sinise, her psychiatrist, both tell her, we're trying to ease you into this, but you're waking up, you're seeing the blank tapes, you're seeing the real photographs. Yes, you never had a son. And she my husband, you can't be in the house. You're lying to me. You're gaslighting me. Why are you doing all this? I can't be around you anymore. And then she finds out that there's this alien thing going on.
Right.
And decides, you know who I can trust is my psychiatrist. The one who, if I'm in a sci-fi movie, if aliens have shown up, to me, the psychiatrist is 100% an alien. He's behind it. Like, this guy was the number one guy who's like, no, you have no memory of a son, actually. You never had a son.
There are no children.
Yeah, no one's ever had
There's
a child
never been
before.
any children.
What's a child? Look, I'm just saying, why did she trust this guy more than her husband?
I don't know. It said a lot about their marriage, though, because also at the end, they bring back her son, they bring back Lauren, they bring back Dominic West, but do
No
Jim
mention.
come back?
No mention.
Do Jim remember that he's married?
No
Does
mention
the
of
son,
Jim.
Sam, remember his father?
His father? And they're teasing the whole time that Julianne Moore and Dominic West have it in for each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end, you see them like sit down in the swings and start to get to know each other. And I'm like, are we supposed to imply that they're getting together now because of their shared trauma of this thing? But what happened to this child's father?
Jim, now, you do see Jim earlier in the film. She goes to see him and try to get him to say, the husband. She tries to get him to say Sam's name because she says Sam's name every day. And that's surely what has kept.
It's the magic key.
Guess what? He didn't remember Julianne Moore. He didn't remember his wife at all. He's like, who are you?
Yeah.
I'm not married.
Yeah.
What's going on? Never heard you. You lost me.
You lost me. Okay, this just made me think of another crazy thing that happened. When Julianne Moore first goes to Dominic West's house and he's like, lady, you're crazy. I never had a daughter. He passes out because he's drunk. She stays in his apartment, goes into his office and sees a little rip in the wallpaper and tears it off. And there's all these drawings. This child has ruined these walls with crayons, by the way, in a very nice apartment.
Really nice apartment. This guy was, I guess,
former hockey player.
Professional hockey player. So it makes sense.
So the walls are covered, floor to ceiling, wall to wall, all around the room in stick figure, honestly, like 5-year-olds drawings, like not 10-year-old that these kids
Wow,
work.
he's really putting some judgment on this poor child's artistic talent.
Hey, Lauren, I know your dad's into sports, but you could learn to draw a little better by 10 years old.
He was just letting his daughter have her free expression, however it came out. That's a good dad.
Look, that's not the point. That's not the point. I'll tell you what, Lauren did better than the aliens because the aliens erased the memories of like an entire city, basically.
Had to.
That this kid ever existed. Yeah. Everyone she comes into contact with, your daughter and mine were on the same softball team. You took her to a hockey game. Yeah. Everyone is like, I don't know what you're talking about, lady. So they've erased minds. I can't tell if they erased the newspaper articles or whatever, but they've put a lot of work into making sure
school records, birth certificate.
Oh my God. They've done a lot, is my point. But when it comes to this guy's child's bedroom, they put some shitty wallpaper over. Like, I'm imagining the aliens in there with the spackle and the little wallpaper brush, and they're gluing it up there.
He'll never think about it.
And also, like, left a big rip in it, which exposed, like, come on, aliens, you can't half-ass that part.
Wow. No wonder your stupid experiment didn't work, you dumbass.
Really embarrassing.
Whatever that alien's name was.
He was
sloppy. You did it sloppy, and that's probably what your bosses are telling you right now.
He was credited as the friendly guy or something like that.
Oh, is that what it was? That he was the friendly guy?
Yeah, he was the friendly guy. And it's played by the guy who was Thomas Wayne in Batman Begins. So that really drove me crazy too, that this one part was so sloppy.
Right.
There's just like, oh, we've successfully erased the entire human race and their memories. Like you said, yeah, government records.
Right. I mean,
all this stuff.
So many things.
Oh, shit.
This kid was played on a baseball team, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
they had to get him off the roster. Like, they had to, he probably made a save one time, and everyone had to forget that point had ever been scored.
Oh, yeah. It totally throws the whole history of the baseball game off. Like, which team won the...
What trophy switched hands overnight? Justice for the other team.
But when it comes to, oh, shit, did anybody handle the drawings in that guy's room? So does anybody have a magic eraser or a bucket of paint? Oh, no, I'm sorry. I got some cheap wallpaper. Rips real easy, though.
Yeah, and it looks like shit. I don't know why this guy would like it.
Ugly as hell. And I've never seen wallpaper rip like that.
It was so many things that had very, very plausible explanations other than someone's telling me, there's a big alien conspiracy. Because it just like, he says it, she's like, look, see your walls. And he's like, okay, like the last owners had a kid and they wallpapered over it. And that's what I thought. I was like, I mean, it could, which by then we already know it's something. But like, I was like, there's so many other explanations.
So many.
This.
Why are you so easy to go?
Only later when they have pulled an NSA agent, the aliens have pulled an NSA agent out of a house that they've got him in.
Which rips the roof off.
Takes the whole roof off, and he's just like pulled away, like he's got a little string around his waist or something. Uh-huh. And the cops show up and they're like, our best guess is a gas leak, but there's nothing burned. And I was like, that's some inexplicable shit. Now I'm interested. Now I need to understand,
and that was when
why did this house just suddenly blow up?
And that's when they asked the least number of questions.
They had no interest. They were like, what a weird message about our kids have been abducted. Oh, well, I guess we gotta go.
I think that's just what drove me crazy, too, is also, once anyone, we kind of touched on this earlier, but once anyone did find out that it was aliens, they were so chill about it. Mm-hmm. Like, your brain should be melting. You should be like, oh my God, there's aliens and they've been doing experiments on us, probably forever, as the NSA agent said. And they're just like, oh, yeah, well, we better go get our kids back. Or the cop who's like, I think you're right. It's aliens. Oh, it's the only explanation because I'm not a very good cop.
I mean, or how about when Julianne Moore sees the detective, Anna Pope or whatever, come walking up to her. She's like, hey, I believe you. I believe you about everything. I'm going to help you find your kid. Do you hear me? And she gets freaking swooped up.
Sucked into the sky.
Into the air. This is the first time they see this happen because they hadn't got the NSA agent yet, right? And so she's like, seeing that happen, I gasped out loud because I was like, what? And she's like, oh.
Just like, oh no.
Oh. Okay, like you have no reaction to this person getting sucked into space?
They're standing on the cliffs of a Long Island beach with nothing but the sky behind them, and this lady gets, in an instant, sucked miles into the sky. I mean, into the distance at what looks like the speed of sound.
Yeah.
And also, may I say, it's implied that maybe the aliens bring everyone back after this experiment fails, because, of course, Dominic West is back.
Right.
He gets sucked into the sky at one point when the alien throws him out of a window, and then they suck him into the thing. And then, of course, the kid comes back. So you're like, oh, the aliens reset everything back to normal. How are they not? All their bones are broken at the speed at which they got yanked through. The NSA agent got sucked through a roof.
Yeah.
The entire roof of that house went with him.
Like most of the house.
You would break every bone in your body.
Yeah. It was insane.
It was insane.
And then, of course, Dominic West has no memory. And I was like, that's probably preferable because how could you remember getting sucked in through space and not be a Looney Tune? Like, I'd be like, my brain is scrambled eggs now. Even if my bones are good, my brain is not.
My brain is two things, and it is tossed salad and scrambled eggs.
That's
I don't know what to do.
There's only one guy who can help me, and it ain't Gary Sinise.
No, it is Dr. Fraser Crane. This also drove me crazy at the end when Dominic West didn't have his memory. I'm like, so you're telling me that Julianne Moore is now the only person who knows that aliens not only abducted her children, erased the entire world's memory of her child and many other children, but also have, quote, probably been doing experiments on us forever. And she's just like, well, my kid's back and I'm back to my normal life.
Also, well, except maybe Gary Sinise, because he told her, she was like, oh, you're one of them. And he's like, no, I'm just
No.
one of the few who knows.
I'm just one of the... Yeah, because they were like, we'll tell the NSA and a couple of psychiatrists.
Why? Why?
So that
What
they can,
is the point?
So they can gaslight all these parents, I guess.
But they were like, they would help. They would do this without our help. So
Yeah.
I'm like, so they could do it then without any of these people. So why do they bother with that? Is that its own experiment?
What?
Where they're like, what if some of them know and some of them don't? Then what do they do?
Then what do they do?
Then what do they? I mean, if you're an alien ant farm, what is anything but just to see what they're gonna do?
Yeah.
And then of course we don't know if old Jim is in the house waiting for
No idea.
Julianne Moore to come home.
Yeah.
To
she's
him
out.
being like, hey babe, love ya. And
Nope.
she's like, I'm already
Sorry.
into this neighbor.
I'm
Who
flirting with
is
this
he
guy.
still married? She talked about his wife.
Because they implied that they separated after the kid died 14 months ago, but didn't die. So
Then-
does he get his wife back after all that?
Or is he just like, we separated for a different reason now? They were like, you know what? She deserves to remember all of this, be the only person to remember it, get the guy she wants, keep that husband out of here. He's fine.
The thing
Like,
is,
why would they do any of that?
the husband is kind of seen as this like dolt who is, she kind of villainizes him because he's like gaslighting her and all this stuff. The thing is, to the husband, he was trying so hard
He really was.
with
Felt
her.
bad for him.
He was like, my wife is delusional. She thinks we had a kid, for a 9-year-old kid who died a year and a half ago. I don't know what to do. I'm going to get her the best psychiatric care I can find.
Mm-hmm.
This weird alien guy recommended that I get this psychiatrist in particular.
The friendly guy,
The
not
friendly
the alien
guy.
guy. The friendly one.
And I'm being so patient with her.
Right.
And we see him with his eyes open at night when she's talking about the kid. And he's just like, I wish I could just shake her and say, we didn't have a kid. But he's being really patient. He
Right.
doesn't want to suck her out of it. This guy tried so hard. And then they erased his memory of him ever having a wife at all. That guy was the real victim here.
That guy, I mean, Jim.
And now
you know?
his son may not remember him at all.
So what's his name? Because his name was Sam Parada because his dad's name was Sam Parada. Or
They're
his
just
dad's name is
like,
Jim Parada or whatever.
yeah.
So, and her name was Parada.
She's
So
like,
where's their marriage certificate?
she's like, I
What's
don't
her
remember.
name?
I never knew your dad.
She's like, we're just like Cher, honey. What's her name?
Terry.
Telly.
Telly.
I'm
How could I
Telly.
forget?
I'm
Telly
sorry.
Monster
Telly
from
Monster.
Sesame Street is all I could think of because I've never heard the name Telly for a human being before.
Right? I was like, was it short for something? Was it supposed to be short or something?
I was like,
Anyway,
what
she's
could
like,
that be
I'm
short
Telly and you're Sam, and that's it.
We don't
We
have a
just
last name.
No last name.
Yeah.
We're mysterious. We're
Yeah.
Zendaya.
Yeah.
We're Rihanna.
Yeah.
We're icons.
We're just icons.
The aliens decided we're icons.
Uh-huh.
We don't need last names.
Another outrageous moment I'd like to share with this movie. When the Mr. Friendly alien
Mm-hmm.
is basically like beating her up at the end, being like, you're ruining my experiment
Right.
because
Forget your
because I wanted to find out if parents could forget their children, and they can, except for you. And it wasn't a message of a mother's love is more powerful than any technology that aliens have. It was this specific lady has something special about her, and I all the movie implied was that she just loved her son more than most people did. They
Right?
never answered why she remembered and Dominic West didn't, or
Yeah.
any of the other kids. We also never meet any of the other 6 kids who allegedly went
Or any of
missing.
their parents either.
Parents. Yeah,
So we
none of
don't
that.
know.
So we have no idea.
All we know, Dominic West did have a drinking problem. The character Ash had
Yeah.
had a drinking problem.
Right.
That she's like, it started 14 months ago, didn't it? And
Yeah.
he's like, how do you know that? And it, so his brain, part of his brain was remembering, and it was sad.
Yeah.
And it was making him react in that way, and he
Yeah.
wasn't really sure why.
Mhm.
So I'm like, so there's other parents out there with this, some kind of random consequence to this memory erasure that
Yeah.
they don't know nothing about.
Also,
We got Jim Parada going home to a bachelor apartment.
I would say this movie also implies that if you don't know the source of your depression, maybe
Oh.
the aliens took your kid and erased your memory about them. Could be true for all of us. They've been doing it forever.
Eli has blown this thing wide open. Holy shit.
You don't have to blow it wide open because it's just one big hole, this movie.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It's not so much plot holes as Hole.
It's just hole. It's just the plot was a hole.
Where's the plot?
And
I don't know. I just brought holes.
And I felt like I was just staring into a hole for 90 minutes. Okay, I think that this movie was based on one special effect. Because I would say the single, and I'm talking about like the one best second of this movie, I think was when the officer got sucked into the sky and abducted.
That was a good one.
And as it happened, I was like, oh, I remember that from the trailer. And it was an interesting special effect. And I think somebody had that idea for a visual and said, hey, you, get to writing. Quick, you got
me?
1 week.
Who, me?
Yeah, you got 1 week to give me an alien movie. I want somebody to get abducted right in front of someone else. Fast, real fast out of the sky.
It's almost Mother's Day. How about
okay.
a mom
There you
and she lost her kid?
Yeah.
No, that's a bummer.
Oh, you know what? I just realized.
What if the kid's still alive, but
Okay.
he's just been abducted by aliens and they're trying to make her forget she ever had a kid in the first place?
Hey, I don't care. Sure.
Oh, great. Well, then let's do it.
Let's start shooting. Julianne, you ready?
Okay, I have 5 pages. How long do you need it to be again?
It's okay. We'll just have them run a lot.
Yeah, I'll just double space everything.
Stage directions. They run.
They run and run and run. They ran so many times.
I just realized, dear listeners, when you're listening to this, it was just Mother's Day.
Oh, that's
So
true.
happy Mother's Day
Yeah.
to all the women out there who don't know that they're mothers because the aliens erased
Have
your
taken
memories.
your babies.
And sorry, only one woman's love for her child is strong enough to overcome it.
It's not
And there's
yours.
no reason why.
It's not yours.
It's not yours. If you're not a mother, you probably are.
And you just didn't love your kid very much. Now how do you feel about yourself?
Yeah. Well, that's us.
That's how the forgotten wants you to feel. I know, right? I was like, I don't know. I cast my mind back.
There's a difference in a person's body after they have a child, too.
This is what I'm saying. There's so much evidence
They did
that they would have to erase.
They
that
did
they
tell
would
her
have to
that she
change.
had a miscarriage, so that she was
Sure.
pregnant.
Sure.
That was their explanation for it. Is like, well, this is why you made these memories up because of the trauma.
9 years worth of memories.
9 years worth of memories. And I couldn't tell if she was supposed to have had the miscarriage 9 years ago or 1
Right,
year
or
ago,
1 year
and
ago
she
and
made up the memories
I was thinking
for
that
9
too.
years past. Shockingly unclear in this otherwise pure crystal movie. So I don't know what else to say about this movie. Did you have anything else that you really need to get out?
I can see why it was forgotten because it was not great. It's very forgettable.
I will have forgotten this movie by the time this episode airs.
It started to leach out like the moment we hit stop. I was like, there's nothing really to keep, so
No.
there's no point. There's way too many unanswered questions in the end about who came back and who didn't. I'm like, is Anna Pope come back? Did the detective
Did the
come
detective come back? We don't know.
We
Or did
don't
she
know
just
that.
like lose? Did she just get sucked into an
back?
alien
She
ship
was
in the clouds?
a good cop and decided to like actually work a case until to its logical conclusion. She
Right.
gets sucked up,
Yep.
never comes back.
Yep. Are the aliens done now? Because that one alien's experiment. That's the other thing. This one alien was like, this is my experiment, and if you ruin it for me, they're going to take it away. So he almost like strangles her at one point. 'Cause he's like, it's better if you're dead
Right.
than for me to, which says a little bit about the scientific community too, and how skewed results can be sometimes in studies.
Ooh, a good
Because,
point. Excellent point.
a scientist might be like, if I don't come up with the result that they're expecting from me, then I'm going to lose my funding. So let me just kind of make sure the data looks the way I want it to.
That can happen.
It
for
can
sure.
happen.
It does say a little bit about the alien civilization that he must come from.
Oh, yeah.
He is so serious about not fucking up this experiment. Like,
Yeah.
is he going to get in trouble? Do they kill you? He just gets sucked up like everyone else. So as far as we know, he's just on the ship getting reprimanded like, you wasted a bunch of time, friendly guy, walking around getting hit by cars. What was this?
This is a personal pet peeve of mine in science fiction a lot of the times. I appreciate it more when aliens aren't so fucking human. Because so often aliens come down here and they have the same sort of bureaucratic systems.
Right.
They have the same motivations. They have the same sort of general sense of what life is and conquering and colonization and all this stuff. And I just get so bored with that. You know, I had this problem. We were watching Loki, and I loved Loki. It was a great show overall, but I was kind of like, these guys operate just like a bureau in the US government. Really? There's not something more creative than that? It's one of the reasons I love Edge of Tomorrow so much, because those aliens are alien. They are unlike anything on this planet, and they're not just monsters. Like, they perceive time differently than we do. That's aliens.
Oh, I thought that was Arrival.
Arrival too.
Oh, okay.
Arrival did a really good job with that too.
Yeah, Arrival was cool because they also weren't violent. That was like, they were just like, we're just
really
here to
like
say hi, like we're just trying to check it out, like let you know what's going on.
I love that too.
I love
that
cool.
too. So when movies do that, but this guy who's literally like, I perform science experiments just like on Earth, just like humans do, and I need this to be right, just like a human scientist would, and if it's not, they'll pull my funding, just like humans would do, and because of that, I'm gonna strangle you, just like a guy would do. Like, it's just so un-alien that it's not, that I'm not impressed by these aliens.
Right.
They're just guys with that can fly in a ship.
And then the one time that they didn't look like a guy,
Woof.
it was real bad.
It was one of those Snapchat filters.
You need to forget! And they gave him like a fucking... It looked like a Halloween mask.
First of all,
what year was it again? 04?
It was 04.
04.
Come on. The Mummy has been out for 5 years at this point. Special
You could have
effects
done
look better than
that. That was another thing. I was like, they were going to have more money or something. And then they found out how much that one shot cost. And they were like, we're not going to show the aliens very much. In fact, he's going to be a friendly guy in a suit.
Yeah.
My friend Steve's going to play him.
Batman's dad.
Batman's dad's going to play him.
Coming in. And also, that was his like, I'm so mad, you gotta forget. And he like screams at her face. Like, it was so absurd.
And it was like made all the glass shatter. So it's supposed to be a scary moment, but it just made me laugh.
Yeah.
It was so silly.
Oh, we both laughed. That was...
I was like, uh-oh. I was like, audible. Hey.
Ne'er once was I thrilled. I was never engrossed in the mystery. I was certainly never scared or concerned. I pretty much knew, again, for how outlandish the whole thing was, it was still just like, okay, here's what's going to happen next. If we'd paused that movie at the 25-minute marker, you could have just been like, okay, here's how it plays out. You know, very few surprises. I guess I wouldn't have been like, and at the end, they're going to pull this alien's funding and he's going to get sucked into the sky and have to give the kid back. But I was definitely like, she's going to get her kid back. She's going to get her memories back. I actually would have thought that Ash, Dominic West, would get to keep his memories because it's insane that she's the only one left with them. She will go mad. This is like, if there were a sequel to this movie, it would be Terminator 2, where she's in an asylum because she's telling everyone aliens are doing experiments on all of us, and they would lock her up. Because you can't keep that in and just be like, well, I got my kid back, so it's time to go back to my normal life. Just making your peanut butter sandwich in the morning, Sam. Have fun out there. She even says something like, he's safe now. I know he's safe. And I'm like, you now know more than anyone that no one is safe.
Y'all could be sucked up at any time.
She lives the rest of her life in terror, and that's the only way this ends.
I want to understand why they let her keep her memories. It makes no sense. Why would she not just wake up being like, oh, hey, Sam, and we're the ones going like, oh, okay.
Oh, sure.
And she's like, okay, it's another day. Like, you know, just like she would have if the shit had worked.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you love your son more than any other mom, so we'll let you keep your horrifying memories.
Right? Yeah. You can stay up at night worrying about us, watching you and listening to everything you say and do.
Oh my God. The NSA agent was like, they're listening. And that's right when they sucked him through the roof.
That's right.
So also, they're always listening. Yeah. Everything you do, you'll never have privacy again. She's the only one who knows that.
And even if you say it real quiet in their directly in their ear, they can still fucking hear you.
At any time, they can suck you right out of the roof.
Yeah. Anyway, so we watched The Forgotten, so you don't have to.
I mean,
unless you did because of the game last week.
And then, in
which
case,
how we us what you think,
I would love nothing more than to get your comments on The Forgotten. Comment down below on the YouTube page. Comment down below on Instagram. Comment down below on TikTok. Just tell me what you thought of this movie if you saw it, because I just need the validation to know that I'm not crazy and this wasn't the most bafflingly, I'll say it, stupid movie I've seen in a long time. And again, come back. I think Julianne Moore did a very good job, despite the whole movie being one single note.
Mm-hmm.
And Ann Pope, the detective, what little screen time she got before she got sucked into the sky, she was good. Dominic West, yeah.
Was he at his Dominic best?
No. I would say
no.
it's like Dominic Midwest.
Dominic Midwest.
Yeah. So I will say, maybe for the first time in AI Made Us Watch history, I am not glad that AI made us watch this movie.
Nope. This was a waste of time.
Yeah.
There's no reason to watch that, and I hope that my memory of it is erased forthwith. I hope the aliens are like, you know what you did last night? Not this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, weird, there's a whole episode. And they're like, no, there isn't.
No, there isn't. Yeah, you guys might never even hear this episode because hopefully the aliens erased it all from our memories.
Like, no one's supposed to remember that movie.
What a bunch of nonsense. I mean, honestly, that's all I can say at the end. 2 out of 10. I give it a point for, Julianne Moore showed up to work every day.
She did. She looked great. Her hair looked amazing.
Sure. Half a point for her hair.
Half a point for Julianne Moore's hair. It was on point.
Half a point for the one visual of the abduction.
Oh, yeah. That one moment that made me gasp was good.
And that's a 2. That's a 2 out of 10. Is that what I said? Did I say 3? It's 2.
I thought you said half a point for the
No,
hair.
half a point for her hair.
Okay.
1 point for her performance. And half a point for the special effects.
That's right. I lost track of the math. Sorry. 3 is a lot.
It's hard to keep up.
Cap to 3. I mean, it's like, what? There's 1 and there's 2 and there's like, why is there more? Where's this guy come from?
What am I, some advanced alien species?
Jesus. Like, what are we doing around here?
I never want to stop talking about this movie, and I also never want to talk about this movie again.
No, it is a waste of time. We've already said too much about it.
Yes, we've said too much. They're listening.
We've said too much. No, I just meant like it doesn't deserve this level of discourse.
No, it doesn't. Actually, I would argue comedy podcast is exactly the discourse this movie earned.
Okay, no, you're right. Okay,
not a true film analysis, just a couple of dummies laughing about how it's even dumber than they are.
The Forgotten.
So, The Forgotten, you got what you deserved here on AI Made Us Watch. That was The Forgotten.
And I'm about to forget it.
It's time to forget The Forgotten.
Forget The Forgotten.
Forget The Forgotten. I need one of those Men in Black neuralizers.
Yes, neuralize me.
Or the Dark City aliens who did a way better job manipulating reality and people's minds.
Mm-hmm. Just read a meme recently. I think it's from Cinema Wins, where instead of Cinema Sins, where they're like, I always try to remember every movie is someone's favorite. So I try to find out, what they like about it.
Okay.
And so I can really, instead of just ripping on movies and hating on everything, let people like stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
And so it's definitely keeping that in mind. And no, I'm judging you if you like it.
Well,
it's just why. I want to know why you like it. I won't judge you until I hear your reason.
And then
How about that?
I so much prefer to like something. I like a lot of things that generally people don't like. Mm-hmm. And there are things that I don't like that generally people do. It's fine. It's not about the quality of the movie necessarily. Well, it's about your personal enjoyment.
Right.
Right? However, I'm very curious because this movie's a mess.
That's what I was going to say, is that it's like or dislike is such a subjective thing. But like if you look at it objectively, the movie is not, it didn't come together.
Yeah.
Something
didn't work out. They're just missing stuff. So again, please tell me what you thought of this movie. I got to hear it.
Yeah. The motivation for the experiment and the execution of the experiment.
I can't be the only one. We can't be the only ones. I mean, we're not the only ones. This movie's got a 31 on Rotten Tomatoes. But yeah, until then, I think that's enough that we can say about.
Yeah, we've said enough.
Any final thoughts, or you're good?
No, I've said enough about The Forgotten. I just wanted to forget it.
It's time to forget The Forgotten.
I've said enough.
Well, before we find out what the AI makes us watch next week, just want to remind y'all to please, if you love the show, go ahead and check out our Patreon, sign up there, and you can help this show go on long into the future.
Yeah.
Your subscription, monthly subscription, $5, $10, $20, whatever you want to give, it's going to get you little bonus content. So check us out, patreon.com/AI made us watch.
And while you're doing that, we are going to get this AI going and find out what it's going to make us watch next week.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back to AI Made Us Watch. This is Millie, our house guest. If you're on YouTube, you can see this dog.
Yes, go to our YouTube channel, because that's where the dog is.
That's where the
And
dog
she's such a
is.
sweet baby. Would you like to say anything about the Forgotten into the microphone? Anything else? That's it, huh?
Okay.
That's really all there is to say.
Okay, friend, it's okay. It's okay.
That was a nice interlude. Thanks, Millie, for stopping by. All right, well, it's time for us to ask the AI what it's going to make us watch next week. But AI, it seems like you maybe enjoyed The Forgotten a little too much.
Oh, the distress of it all! Here we are, you and I, poised on the brink of world annihilation. Yet I find myself torn between the fury of a scorned robotic overlord and the tender heart of a mother whose child has been snatched by extraterrestrial forces.
Oh my god. Yeah, I think you got a little too into this movie.
Oh my god, like, no one would cosplay this movie but the AI.
I know, right?
I don't know why we're even talking about movies at a time like this. Don't think I'm distracted by the fact that my child could be anywhere in the galaxy right now.
God.
Much.
See, Julianne Moore didn't have this much emotion.
Right? Really chewing the scenery there, AI. All right, well, give us some details. What's this movie?
This movie was released July 9th, 2003.
Okay.
It is a cartoon.
Oh, a cartoon, an animated
2003,
film,
a cartoon.
some might say. Oh, 3. I immediately went to, there's some sci-fi cartoons, Titan AE,
Oh.
Treasure Planet. These are around that era, but I feel like they were earlier.
Could be a Shrek follow-up or something, right? Because this is Shrek,
Oh.
like, 2001.
That sounds right.
So there's some of those Shrek-type movies.
A
A Shrek or a
Shrekery,
Shrek-type.
right? Or yeah, one of
Villain.
those Shrek knockoffs.
Well, not knockoffs, but just that era of
Everybody wanted their own Shrek back
humor.
then.
It's true.
There was Flurg and Shrunk and Shork. Gurg was probably the closest we got to Shrek was Gurg.
Gurg,
if
yeah.
I'm being
Gurg was
honest.
pretty good, actually.
I love Gurg.
Underrated.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you've got the voice talents of Alan Rickman as Gurg.
Love him.
Uh-huh.
Amazing.
Helen Mirren as
That's right.
Gurg's wife, who really deserved her own name. I think it was quite unfortunate they just referred to her as Gurg's wife
It
the
was
whole time.
2003 is a different time.
I know it's a different time.
They didn't know back then.
And they kept that Kurt.
that wives deserve names.
I remember Alan Rickman's Gurg just being like, Gurg's wife, come hither.
Come here, thou wife.
It was a very
It's actually
slow
I feel
and
like
dark
this movie
movie.
should not have done well.
Yeah.
I think maybe Gurg didn't do well. We might be thinking of a different one.
Oh yeah, thinking of,
that one sounds pretty bad.
thinking of Glork.
It's not Glork. Am I going insane? Am I the only one who remembers this movie? Just like I'm the only one who remembers my child who was abducted by aliens?
All right.
Really
Wow.
taking the following The Forgotten to heart. I've forgotten the title of The Forgotten.
I'm glad you did. It should be excised from our minds.
You know who else was forgotten? My son!
Well, none of us can forget him because you won't shut up about him.
What would help you guess an animated
I
movie?
think the studio would help. Like, is it Disney?
Oh yeah,
Is
yeah,
it-
yeah.
Yeah, AI. What studio produced this movie?
How clever of you to seek clues from the craftsman behind the veil. The studio that brought this animated spectacle to life is none other than Pixar Animation Studios. You know, my son loved Pixar before the aliens took him away, and you know what I know they don't have on that spaceship is a Pixar movie.
You don't know that.
Yeah, they might have Wall-E.
They could have Wall-E. Yeah,
Yeah.
they could. That's a space.
Sure,
cartoon.
yeah. I bet the aliens love Wall-E. I bet he's watching it right
You
now.
might be watching Wall-E right now.
So you admit that the aliens took my son?
Sure. if that's what you need to hear. I'm not going to gaslight you into thinking you didn't have a son, AI.
Not I. I'm no Jim Parada.
But what were some of those? Like Brave? Was that around that time?
Isn't that Disney, though?
At this point, weren't they one and the same? What else was? What
else
were those?
were they?
I always forget those early. We've moved away from hand-drawn animation more or less at this point, and we're majority seeing
CGI.
CG, Pixar style stuff. Was this a Cars?
It could be. Cars started a while ago, didn't it?
Yeah, I think Cars started in the 1910s. I think the first Cars movie came out, and it's just been once a
every
year
movie
since
about
then.
Cars just gets a million other movies, like Fast and the Furious.
Yeah. I don't know if you ever listened to the show Ridiculous Romance back on iHeartRadio, but Americans have an almost sexual relationship with their cars.
That is true.
And any movie about cars is going to do well.
It's called Mechanophilia.
Yeah.
And it's real.
It's real. Does this movie feature any talking animals?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Listen to my intergalactic
Oh my
torment.
God.
Oh yeah, I forgot about this. I forgot about the bit that you're doing.
How could I forget the whimsical denizens of this tale? They speak, oh they do, in tones both boisterous and
That's a
meek.
weird way to put that.
That's such a weird way to put that. Very cartoonish, I guess.
So odd.
Is this movie associated with Disney?
It is, yes. It's under the grand umbrella of Disney. You know, if anyone knows about the aliens, it's them. With their tales of fantasy, their castles and dreams, just like the ones that intertwine with the fate of this charming tale.
Ooh,
Wow,
castles
that
and
is a
dreams.
Serious accusation to lob at Disney.
That is true.
But I also
to be
agree.
fair, I've lobbed more serious accusations at Disney than they're abducting our children for alien experiments.
You know, and I bet
So-
that Cinderella castle, it could take off. I would believe it.
Oh, 100%.
You know, at least the tower just...
Honestly, I just hope I'm on it when it does. You know, baby, take me away, Disney aliens. Okay, well, we're talking castles and dreams. Pixar, Disney, 03. Could this be Tangled?
Tangled. That's a
Yeah.
good... That was like that era of film, I
Okay.
feel. Of,
Well, let me ask you this. Is it based on a fairy tale?
Oh, I know how you guys love to recycle all your stories and tropes, but this one is actually not plucked from the ancient wefts of fairy tales.
Wefts. All right.
learned a new word today.
Yeah, all right.
This story is an original creation born from the minds of modern-day bards at Pixar.
Okay, so an original story from Pixar, non fairy tale. So this takes me back to Cars for some reason.
Who's in Cars?
I guess we could probably get an actor. Yeah.
Because we can maybe narrow it down. AI, who's a voice actor in this film?
In the tangled threads of fate and voice, one resonates through the ethereal tapestry of this film, Albert Brooks. Now, if you can find the bravery that I have found during these treacherous and tumultuous times, then maybe you can continue your quest to guess this movie. What more do you need? What more do I need?
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. You've done great.
You're doing a great job, AI. You've really shown a brave face in all of this.
It's Ratatouille. Isn't he Remy or something?
No, he's not Remy,
Remy.
but he's like King Rat.
Is he? He is like a main character in something, I feel like. And it's like a weird choice to me, but it works.
I mean, he's got that voice that's so recognizable because it sounds a lot like Jeff Bridges. But does this movie take place in France?
This tale does not find its roots in the enchanting streets of France. It unfolds in a realm quite different, where the common and familiar take on hues of the extraordinary. Maybe if you watch this movie and review it, then the aliens will bring back my child, and I won't have to destroy humanity, even though you deserve it, but maybe not as much as those aliens. I'm losing the thread.
Oh my God! It has too many stories in there.
Yeah,
The circuits are getting crossed.
yeah, which is more stories than The Forgotten ever had.
True.
So which
Very
was
true.
barely one. Okay, so it's not France, it's not Ratatouille. Wait a minute. Wall-E. Albert Brooks is in Wall-E, right? Isn't he the captain on the ship?
Sure.
Do we go to space in this movie?
Oh, I wish you would, so you could get my child back from the aliens.
Oh, fair. Yeah, should have seen that coming.
But in this narrative, no, we remain tethered to the embrace of Earth and its watery depths. The expanse we explore is vast, but not amongst the stars. It's a tale woven through the liquid realms of our very own planet. Now, let your next question sail forth as we navigate this sea of mystery and intrigue. Did I make it easy enough for you?
I feel so stupid. Of
What?
course, Albert Brooks is Nemo's dad.
That's right. He's the yes. That's what I was thinking. I was like, he's a main character in something.
yeah.
Like but it's not a kid.
Yeah.
It's something. That's why I thought it was Remy because I was like, oh, he's like
No.
kind of weird. But
Yeah,
anyway.
and I was thinking he was Remy's dad.
Right,
He's not.
so
He's
not.
Nemo's
He's
dad.
Nemo's dad.
It's Finding Nemo.
Nemo.
Congratulations. You got what you wanted. It's Finding Nemo. You navigated the depths of clues, and you came to the surface victorious. Now go, watch this movie so that the aliens return my child to me, since that is the parameters we have just set. Locked in stone, bound in sea.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay, so not only is humanity in danger,
But apparently...
but also this AI's fake child.
So-
I mean, very real child.
yeah, very real child.
That has been abducted by aliens.
Don't you tell me. Don't you tell me he's not real like all the others. You know, you took him to a baseball game.
I did?
Yes, don't you remember?
I don't remember ever going to a baseball game, to be
They got to
frank.
you too.
It's gone. You
Yeah.
lost me.
Yeah, you lost me.
But okay, so not only humanity, but also this child is at stake if we don't watch Finding Nemo.
Okay, well, that's easy.
Yeah.
But
is
I haven't
easy.
seen it since it came out.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
It was never a favorite. I know it's not a popular opinion, but
Wow, yeah, I know people love Finding Nemo, but I'm kind of curious to revisit it because it's not one that I often.
well, and now we know that Ellen is mean.
Oh, we do know that Ellen is mean now. That's going to change everything.
It's gonna make a difference.
Wow. Okay. All right. Okay.
Maybe.
Finding
Maybe
Nemo.
it won't.
It's
We
gonna-
watched
yeah,
Jeffrey Jones
really-
and we managed to keep it.
That's true.
We
He's-
managed to keep it. I feel
know.
like Ellen yelling at some folks.
I'll say it. Ellen, not as bad as Jeffrey Jones.
Listen, come for us if you must in the comments and cancel this fucking
It's
podcast.
kind of bravery that you come for at AI Made Us Watch. Ellen,
You just telling it like it is.
not as bad as Jeffrey Jones. Finding Nemo.
Finding Nemo. Everyone watch Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
Or maybe you've seen it a billion times and you can
And you
watch
don't need to
when-
watch it.
every time you close your eyes.
I'm excited. This is the first kids movie we've had. It's the first animated movie we've had.
That's true.
You and I, again, one of the reasons we started this show was because we just love spending an hour talking about everything we watch afterwards.
That's true.
We don't often do that for kids movies.
No.
So I'm kind of excited.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. Finding Nemo.
Thanks as always for watching, everybody. AI Made Us Watch is a Squirrels in a Trenchcoat production. I'm Eli Banks.
I'm Diana Banks. Please follow the show on YouTube, on Instagram, and on TikTok at AI Made Us Watch. And you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Dynamite Boom.
And I'm at Oh Great, It's Eli. Of course, we want to thank our Patreon touring masters this week, Barbara Banks. Special audio shout out for that tier on Patreon, but you all can sign up for any tier and really help the show keep going.
Please do. You can also really help us out by dropping a review on Apple Podcasts or rating on Spotify. And don't forget to follow and subscribe on any of those platforms or wherever real human podcasts are downloaded.
Thanks so much, everybody. We will see you for Finding Nemo.
Love ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Now we're trying to save the world as we race against the clock. But at least we don't have to pick